Hey guys, it's the Blogging Buddhist here. I have to speak quietly a little bit because it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I don't want to wake everybody in my household. During this video I'm going to show you how to change up the infusion set on your insulin pump. But before I do, please make sure that you click the follow button and make sure you turn your notifications on so that you'll be advised anytime that I put some new content out. Now the important thing about changing up the infusion set on your pump is it has to be done quickly, especially if you're in the current circumstance that I'm in right now, which is where I have 0 units left in my pump, so I'm literally having no insulin delivered to me at all, which is not a big deal, especially since right now, according to my CGM, I'm actually sitting at 3.9, so I'm floating a little bit on the low side. So I'm going to try to do this quickly here, so if I'm talking like a chipmunk and I'm whipping through it quickly, I apologize for that. I just need to get this done quickly so that I can treat my low and get myself to bed. So, just going through the motions quickly here, I have my fast-acting insulin, which is Humalog. I have my reservoir, which is what holds the insulin, and it's got that blue cap on it. You'll see what it's for here in a moment. And I have my infusion set and my cannula, which is also a Medtronic item. So now this can differ depending on what make and model of pump you have. I have the Medtronic 670G, which I've been on here for probably about a year now. So obviously, first and foremost, what you want to start by doing is take out the old infusion set. So I have it in my abdomen. I ain't going to show you my stomach, at least not until I show you the injection of the new cannula. So you just pull out the old infusion set, unscrew and pull out. And now that you've done that, there's a couple of steps, and like I say, it'll differ depending on what kind of pump you have. But for this one specifically, I'm going to go down to options, reservoir and tubing, and I'm going to click new reservoir, and it only gives me one option, which is to rewind. So I'm going to click that, and now it's going to rewind. So what happens is there's actually a cylinder inside here that pushes up inside your reservoir, and that's what makes the insulin go into the tubing. So while that's rewinding, I'm going to pull out my reservoir. I'm going to open it up from its plastic, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime it so that it's full of air. And this blue thing here has a needle inside, and that needle goes onto the insulin bottle. I'm going to pump in the air, flip it upside down and let go of the cylinder, and it's going to start priming on its own. It's going to start drawing insulin out of the bottle. So I'm going to work that down to anywhere between 250 to 300 units, which is roughly what I go through in 3 days. And yes, you do have to change up your infusion set every 3 days because insulin will start to crystallize on plastic surfaces after 3 days. So if you don't change it, you're not getting the amount of insulin that the pump is actually telling you that you're getting. So you need to keep an eye on that. Blue cap comes off. I usually like to hold the black rubber gasket inside, and the plunger bottom just screws off like this, and you're left with just the reservoir. Now my rewind is complete, so now it's telling me to fill the reservoir, which is what I was doing while I was rewinding. I'm going to open up my infusion set. This is what the tubing looks like. I have a 24 centimeter tube, I believe. I can double check that here. 23 inch tubing. Okay, so at the end that goes to the reservoir, all the way up to the end that connects to the cannula. So all you do here now is pop that on, give it a twist, it'll kind of click. Put it inside your pump and turn until you feel it click. And now I'm going to follow all the instructions that are on screen. So fill reservoir, which I did. Connect tubing to reservoir, which I did. Next. Place reservoir into pump and lock, which I did. Next. And now it says load. So I'm going to press and hold that button. All that does is it gets the cylinder inside to go up into the reservoir until it has a tight fit. That usually only takes about a second. When it beeps like that, it's done. I get that nifty little check mark on the screen. I'm going to click next, and now hold fill until drops appear. So I'm going to press that, and now it's priming the tube. So insulin is filling up inside the tube, and I'm watching for drops, and now you can see there are drops falling out. I'm going to go to next, and now it says to insert the infusion set into the body. So now I'm going to take this, which is my cannula. If I fold that back, you see that there's a blue protective cover there. I'm going to take that off. So there's the needle. I'm trying to get it angled here so you can see it on camera, but basically I'm going to insert this roughly 30 or 35 degrees into the fatty tissue of my abdomen. Now, you can put this in a couple of different locations. Some people put it into their thigh, some people put it into their tricep. I always put mine into my abdomen. Sometimes I'll try to get into those love handles a little bit back beyond my reach, so sometimes I'll get my wife to help me out a little bit. So I'm going to try to move the camera here and see if I can't get you all involved so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the video or not, but you should be able to see a bunch of red blotches here on my abdomen from previous infusion sets. I'm going to find a spot that's kind of healed up, jam that needle in all the way in. I'm going to remove the stuff that protects the adhesive backing, and then I'm going to grab this gray piece here and pull it out so needle comes out and white setup stays in. Okay, I'm going to put you guys back up at eye level here so that you're not constantly talking to my gut. So this will go into my sharps container. Now I'm going to take this end of the tubing, which goes right into the cannula that's on my abdomen, and I'll click it in. Depending on what kind of infusion set you use, mine is the Minimed Silhouette. It only goes in one way. Some of them will go in either way, which can be a little bit easier. Some of them click inwards onto the cannula. It all depends on what your preference is. Now, one of the last screens that you get here is to fill the cannula, because that cannula that's inside your gut here right now is empty. So I'm going to click fill now. It's going to give 0.7 units to fill up that inside, which only takes like a split second. Well, usually it only takes a split second. Oh yeah, there we go. 0.65 and 0.7. Okay, so programmed basal delivery resumed, and as you can see, I'm sitting at 3.9, so I kind of got to rush off here and treat myself to a little snack here before I bottom out dangerously before getting my night's sleep. So that's it, guys. The video took about 9 minutes here by my count, and that's with all the talking and the explaining and the little extras. When I'm doing it without recording myself and explaining everything I'm doing, it only takes about 5 minutes. So if you're considering going on pump therapy, or you're on pump therapy now and it's taking you much longer than that, if you're trying to follow all the instructions from the videos or the instruction manuals, it can seem a little bit overwhelming. It doesn't need to be that bad. It can actually be pretty quick, and you can get used to it pretty quick. So that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna go have myself a handful of jelly beans because I'm starting to feel the effects of that low blood sugar. So that's it. If you haven't done so already, please don't be shy to visit my main webpage at www.thebloggingbuddhist.com, all one word, for daily content on diabetes, health and fitness, and martial arts. See you guys on the next one.